What's up, everybody? We are now live here at the set of the Business Temple podcast. This is your co-host, Alex Padron, and meet the super awesome Giga Chad. What's up, Ray?
What's up? What's up?
Giga Chad.
It is Ray Martez, King of Chad, in the house today with Super Alex, and I am so stoked for this one. And you know what? It's in line with what the show is today, all about showmanship. That's
That's
what
right.
you're here for today. Welcome to the Business Temple. I'm so
What's up,
excited to be here today, man.
everybody?
Woo!
You know how we do it every single weekend here at the Business Temple, every single Saturday, consistent. We have been doing this consistently every single Saturday, man. 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. ET, and just tune in with us, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe button, hit that bell notification. But you're welcome to come through every single Saturday where we talk about the union of ancient philosophy and modern business at the Business Temple.
Woo! And wow, yes. And then also, don't forget to leave a comment. Ask us questions. Let us know if there's something that you want to see on the show. We're more than happy to explore it. So, welcome. I'm just excited to get this week started and with a great episode. Showmanship tips for public speakers and entrepreneurs. So today we'll go ahead and teach you a couple of things you can do to be the best showman. And you don't always have to be incredibly I say high production in your presentation when you're an entrepreneur, but there are ways that you can still be a showman and still be an entrepreneur and still get stuff done in the way that is comfortable for you, because not everybody's a showman. But we could get right into that. We could just jump in. Super Alex, let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off. And I just want to say, I feel like this is going to be one of those episodes where, oh man, it's just going to be high octane energy. You know what I mean? Because you and I, if y'all didn't know yet, Ray and I have been public speakers. Ray has been a longer public speaker than I have. What have you been going on? Like 11 years now?
10 years almost,
10
brother.
years.
Yeah, 10 years.
So I'm sure you got a lot of tips to share. You know what I mean? But let's talk about showmanship. Let's define it for everybody. What is it? What are some examples? And how does the relationship between showmanship and entrepreneurship, how does that affect each other? And how could you use it to your benefit? Right? I would say there's a lot of ways to define showmanship. I would say mainly two things. Number one, it's seizing the attention of your audience. And number two, it's just all about your originality, your brand, how you present yourself, how you approach people, how you approach things, And I want to connect this to an episode that we did before called Big Penthouse Energy. And I say that because that's just the way I see you. I see you, Ray. That's when I think about Ray, Ray's just this big ball of energy, not just this big ball of energy, but he's in the fucking penthouse too. So, you know what I mean? It's just the originality that comes with it. I would say, would you consider that like a brand, even like the type of showmanship that you got?
Whoa, yeah, I would honestly say that if you see me anywhere and if you ever had a chance to meet me, I know Alex, we spent a lot of time together. You'll know that
That's what's up.
I have a big personality when it comes to just expressing myself and being who I am. I'm always my authentic self. I always preach that I could be anywhere, whether it's in as an entrepreneur outside, you get the same person. Whether it's with my girlfriend's parents or
There you
my own
go.
family, I'm always the same person. You're gonna get 100% myself. BPE is something that just came to me in a way. I mean, it, of course, is a play on like the BDE energy,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
big penthouse
Yes, it
energy
is.
is kind of like my jam, because I mean, I spent a lot of time in penthouses. Now I got my own. It's nice.
That's what's up.
So it's like, oh man, you kind of have to embody that a little bit, and it's I do feel like, okay, maybe it's a little showmanship, or maybe it's performative, but it really isn't. That's it's all me. I When I'm alone and I have my alone time, I'm very much like they would say your typical introvert. I like to be in my own space, but that's me
Yep.
gathering energy until I gotta explode and just be my authentic self. So for me, I don't know. Maybe it's showmanship a little bit. Maybe it's it's
You're
performance
definitely
art.
a freaking showman, bro. Don't be
Hey,
humble about it, man.
I love to dance. Let's put it that way.
I was about to give that as an example. Like you, Ray over here, he could tear up a
Pa-
dance floor.
pa- pa-
Don't get into a mosh pit with him. He will fuck you up.
Oh no,
You know what I mean? That's just it. You know, people
no.
recognize you for that. Like when I see Ray, like it's on. It is on. You know what I
Uh,
mean? It's just that, and then that type of game or showmanship that you bring to the table.
yeah,
Not only is it authentic for you, but it's positive for everybody else. You make everybody else happy.
yeah, it's
I
true.
think
And
that's one of the greatest showmanship tips ever. Make not only are you authentic with it, but then you make your audience or you make everybody else around you positive. You make them happy. That's a good impact to that.
that's so interesting. I never even thought of it like that, Alex. But now that I think about it, yeah, and it's like, and it's also like you want to be memorable whenever
Oh
you
yeah,
enter a
yeah,
room, whenever you want to like make a connection with people. You want to be memorable. You don't want to be forgotten. And part of being a showman is that it's like putting an earworm in someone's head, saying, "Hey,
an earworm.
I might not remember their name. I might not remember who they are exactly, but I remember this. I remember how they made me feel." And I think that's something that we
Boom.
talk about a bit, is how you make other people feel is the way that they're always going to remember you. If you make someone feel terrible, or if you make someone feel like if they're not important, or you don't even listen to someone, let's say you're a business owner and you're not listening to someone and you're
Yeah,
making them feel unheard, then they'll remember that more than they'll remember your product. They'll remember that more than remember like who your business is or even your name. So
that's
thinking
right.
what showmanship and thinking about presenting yourself is super important to not only your business but you as a person. And it's very important, I think. And Alex, I mean, you have tips of being a showman yourself, because you have several businesses.
Oh yeah,
Your podcast, you had your radio.
yeah.
And I mean, come on, there's no bigger showman than Alex Pedron.
Oh gosh, you know what I mean? It's just
Personality.
it's
I
part of
think
the
of you,
business
brother.
model. It's part of the business model. I just at first, before I even became an entrepreneur or a
Mhm.
public speaker, I was always the kind of like the oddball out, the weird one, a different one. You know what I mean? And then I just took that energy, flipped it, and then made it into something like what you said, made it into something memorable.
Mhm.
Not just for me, something that I could appreciate and hone as well, but for other people. You know what I mean? I think that's showmanship, and I love the way you describe how if you don't use showmanship properly, then that's not going to be showman. That's not showmanship. That's a shit show.
The shit
You know
show.
what I mean? Those, so it's just
Be a showman, not a shit show. That's gonna
okay.
be the quote.
Be a showman.
Not a
Put
shit.
on a show, not a shit show. There you go. Right? But that's just all there is. I think co- coming from a position, especially of sales, you're trying to sell something to someone. You're trying to influence, persuade someone, and a lot of what sales really has to do is with personality. Like what you just said, bro. Is you got to be authentic. You got to have personality, and you got to be memorable. Because if you're not, and you're trying to sell a product or a service, and for example, you're like, hey, how's your day today? What do you think about this product? I saw that you have this issue with your company, yada, yada, yada. And you have that kind of boring tone of voice. No one's going to want to buy anything from you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You got to bring that energy. You got to bring out that authentic you. But then that's also such a controversial thing. I would say, especially for public speakers. Like, I know some public speakers who are out there, and they're like, okay, I'm a different person on stage than when I am if you meet me like off
Mhm.
stage or in real life. And I thought that always baffled me, because if you met me on stage, whether I'm talking to 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, I'm talking like this.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I mean? So I think authenticity, bringing that alignment into it, was one of the best tips I can really share about being a great showman. Because if you're
Mm,
comfortable being yourself, you're unstoppable. Like, what else
mm,
can you be afraid of then?
that's
You
true. I mean, a lot of performance and performance arts and then being a showman, it's taking a little piece of yourself and then becoming perhaps
Ah,
maybe a character. When
that's
you're
profound.
when you're on stage, some people try to use a coping mechanism too, so to just kind of put themselves in that outer body experience, which works well for some speakers. I don't know if it
Yeah,
works well
yeah.
for many people, but they put themselves in a cape kind of thing, like a Clark Kent and Superman. I'm Clark
Hmm.
Kent during the day, I'm Superman on stage, and they put on the cape and then they
Yeah,
turn into a different person, but it's still them at the end of the day, deep down. And it's just a more of a coping mechanism to just kind of have that outer body experience and create a character. And I think anywhere you go, anywhere that you do business or anything you do in your life, you always take a piece of yourself with that core identity purpose of yourself and then transfer that over to the scenario, because as we know, environments change and
yeah.
we have to change with it. We adapt to it. We become seldomly a different person. Because think about it like this: do you typically yell in your day to day? Not necessarily, right? Like
Yeah.
like if you're going to be yelling to an audience, for example,
Hmm.
you're kind of that's a bit more out of what you would normally do, but it's still you. And that's what I think about when it comes to like going on stage doing that type of performance. If you're a singer, you're not normally singing to thousands of people every day, so
Yeah.
essentially you have to kind of take on a different kind of vibe.
Vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Damn, we're completing each other's sentences, bro.
Yeah, I know,
That's
right?
bro love right there, man. We've been doing this so
Absolutely.
long.
We have.
Like, I knew you were gonna say that. You
Oh
know,
man.
it's weird that you
Yeah.
mentioned Superman, bro, and
Yeah.
costumes and stuff like that, because
Hmm.
it's so weird. I feel like I'm kind of like Batman in sort of a sense.
Yeah. What?
Because
Batman.
yeah, bro, because you know how Batman, like,
Yeah.
his costume is Bruce Wayne, and
Mm.
he's really Batman. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm just
Wow. Yeah,
always
that's true.
this ball of
You're
energy.
Batman.
You know what I mean? I feel like I'm always Batman. And then, when I want to rest, that's when I take the mask off.
Mm.
So, like, how you see me,
I
right?
was
And you see me all the time, bro. This is
Yeah,
this
but
is my usual
my
shit.
question I was gonna ask you is like, who is your greatest showman? Who is the person that you think embodies that showmanship type of personality?
Are we talking about a public speaker, entrepreneur, or just anybody in general?
Anybody in general?
I would say Les Brown,
Les Brown.
that
Okay,
public speaker. You gotta be hungry.
you gotta be
Oh
hungry.
man, he could move people, man. Here, he could move people, and that's just. I've been watching that guy since I started public speaking
Hmm.
7 years ago, and I still watch him. He doesn't. It's been a while since he spoke, and I've been watching his really old videos on YouTube. But
Yeah.
every time I do, it's just a boost of motivation, inspiration, energy. Just like when we hop on the business temple, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And the thing, here it is. The thing that I'm trying to say here is that Les Brown has this stage presence. You know how one person can just
Mm.
walk in the room and say there's like 100 people in the room, and this person walks through the door and everybody just looks there. Nobody knows why. He didn't say anything. That person didn't, or she didn't announce anything that this person was going to walk in the room, but then you just look there. That's presence, man. And yeah, I've been just trying to
Emulate.
develop that type
Yeah.
of you gotta be hungry presence. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Oh
Let's do it
wow.
now. Let's
Oof.
practice. Let's do it. Let's take on the Les Brown characteristics. All right, I'm back here. Mobile, Alabama. My mama,
Mm-hmm.
she raised
Mm-hmm.
me real well. She grew up during time of Jim Crow,
Mm-hmm.
segregation. She
Mm-hmm.
wasn't able to use the same water fountains, go to the same schools, and she raised me. I grew up with nothing. And when I first started, I wasn't even able to pack out a tiny dorm room. I, the- I was standing there, and only two people came to visit me, but then more and more and more and more people became because
There
I
you go.
stayed hungry. I kept fighting. I kept doing what I knew I loved doing, and I'm out here helping people every single day, making sure that they stay hungry, because that's hunger is gonna take you far.
That's right. Tap
No.
somebody on your left and tell them you gotta be hungry. Get her done. You know what I
No.
mean? So based on that, you felt like there was a momentum in his tone, and then it was just a lot of originality to it, you know.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, that inspired me. So
Yeah.
build. How do we build the stage presence? Super Ray,
I
give us some public speaking tips.
All right. So how do you build? So I think you follow the three components, which is ethos, pathos, and logos. And if you have all three of those components, your ethos being your uh logos, logic, ethos is your credibility, and pathos being the emotional state that you're in. So if you have those three components, you blend them together, and then you show what you and what you have, and be yourself, it's you're gonna do fine. I'm a strong believer that your authentic self is the best self, and there's no other person than you in this world. And to
Love
recreate
that.
something like what Les Brown did, I think is impossible. There's only
Nobody
one
can
Les
be Les
Brown.
Brown.
There's only one Les Brown. There's only one Alice Padron. There's only one Ray Martez. There's only one of
Right.
you. There's only one of you guys. I'm pointing at you. And you have to develop it on your own. That doesn't mean you don't steal stuff. All right. Don't get me wrong. There is no such thing as an original thought. There's no such thing as an original idea anymore. We
Yeah,
live in an
you're
age
not
where
reinventing
everything
the
is,
wheel.
yeah, everything is stolen essentially, because
Mhm.
think about like the copyright strike with Ed Sheeran, how Marvin
Yeah,
Gaye, and
yeah.
and then they were copywriting his music because it's a beat, it's a tone. But like, I love this quote when they said that you can't copyright red paint. When
Oh.
for an artist, you can't copyright blue paint. You can't
Hmm.
copyright anything like that. So don't feel like you're stealing things. Take
Hmm.
components, take paint, take different paints, and then make your own, use your own canvas and make your own art. And that's how I see it. It's not
Love that.
that you're just stealing someone's thunder or anything like that. Like, your hunger isn't just for Les Brown, but when people say that, they recognize him for that. That's like his signature.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to be a good showman, have a signature, have a signature move. I mean, BPE, baby.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
signature move.
Yes, sir. Oh man, love that. I love
And then we
that.
got TBT, the business temple. We make it as a signature. We make it a brand, and
Yeah.
it's a brand. And essentially, if you're an entrepreneur, that's what you're building, a brand. So if you're building a brand, you're showman. Make yourself memorable. Those are the tips I got. And then marry ethos, logos, and pathos within your artistry
No,
and
I
your
love
work.
that. Yeah, we you got technical there, and that was profound, man. So ethos, pathos, and logos. You taught me that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did teach me that. Yeah, I think it was something like last year or 2 years ago. Learned a lot from it. Research it as much as you can. Everybody listening, it's you or you will learn a lot from that. And
Mhm.
the thing about what you mentioned, Ray, about earlier about authenticity. Another thing that I want to and being yourself. Another thing that I want to mention, especially if you're a public speaker, I think one of the ways you can develop stage presence and kind of bridge the gap between who you are on stage and who you are outside of the stage, so you could completely be yourself. Affirmations work for me a lot.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I stare at myself in the mirror and be like, "You sexy motherfucker, you got this." You know what I mean? I would, no lie, brother, no funny too, dead ass. I would do that many times too, until I believe it. You know,
Yeah.
and if it gets a little bit more, if I'm feeling like the jitters, the butterflies in my stomach, the nervousness before I hop on
Mhm.
stage, I will literally get down on the ground and do 50 push-ups straight.
Mhm.
Just kind of like box in that energy and transmute it into something that can be useful to me.
Yeah.
Because I can get nervous, man, and it's bad when I do. Like I shake a lot, And I used to shake a lot, you know, obviously in my first few speaking engagements, which was so weird, man. And I hated it until I worked on my personality, bro. And then the shaking stopped and I started being myself. And it was so
Mm.
natural, the flow, like
Can
how
you
it's going right now.
can you give some tips to those people out there that might not be showmans, that are perhaps started off like you and wanted that more like confidence, I would say. Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
put yourself out there.
Hmm.
You know, you can't be afraid to fail. A lot of when, especially if it's going to be your first venture as a public speaker or entrepreneur, it's high risk out there.
Mm.
And the moment you stop denying that, stop trying to work around it, and really accept it, is when you will create the bandwidth within you to be like, okay, I'm going to show up in this bitch as the best person that I can, the best me that I can, best foot forward, right? And that's a thing that builds the confidence, you know, putting yourself out there. And even if you're nervous, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult, just show up for it. You know, have gain as much experience as you can. Be a sponge for experience, because once you get that experience, that's when you're going to be able to give yourself feedback, give yourself analysis, and continue to improve. I didn't develop this type of personality overnight. In fact, I took a lot of workshops from it, which is my second piece of advice to give. Take personality development. There are personality development workshops that you can actually take. I took mine in person, but nowadays you can probably take it online, and you got to be intentional about the personality that you want to build.
Mm.
You got
You
to
got to be
know what type
intentional
of
with the personality you want to build. Yeah.
yeah, you got to know what type of energy
Hmm.
you want to put out there in the world. I wanted to put out an energy of freaking feel good. When people see me, they'd be like, "Yo, this guy's up there, man. I want to be. I want to feel like that too." And
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean? And I think you're the same way, bro. Obviously, big penthouse energy. You're up there. We vibe really well in this show. Outside of this show, we talk the same way, and it's just who we are. And so after you develop that personality, then integrate it within you. Whoever
Mm.
whatever personality you built, integrate that within yourself so that it can feel natural. Whenever this way, you're not going to be like, okay, let me bring out my best self, let me bring out this person when I'm stage. That's not the goal here. The goal is to integrate that so that you're always that person.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean? So,
yeah.
did I explain that correctly?
No,
I'm not
yeah, I'm
sure. Like,
following. I'm following because it's
okay.
exactly the same motions that I feel and I've gone through. And my question to you too, I got to follow up to that one.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
do you
go.
prevent it from being a shit show?
So, especially as public speakers, there's a lot of things that you have, a lot of little things
Mhm.
that you have to consider before the show, during the show, after the show, whatever.
Yes.
But specifically before the show, you take care of the little things. Like, for example, hopping on the business temple, I got to make sure my audio is good. I got to make sure my video good. The lighting's okay. I got to improve on my lighting, but it's pretty much doable. And this way I'm not thinking about it. This way I could just focus on being me and delivering whatever I need to deliver. But of course, if it's in person, it's a little bit more complicated. You gotta consider the audience. You gotta consider a whole lot of things. But once you cover those little bases, and you got to cover them as much as you can, this way you're not thinking about it as you do your speech, your presentation, whatever it is, you're doing in front of an audience. Take care of those little things, because if you don't, those little things will stack up and it'll bother you. I'm not sure
Mhm.
if you felt that before, Ray. For example, you're talking like, oh, my camera is a little slanted, or I'm not sure if my audio is okay. Can you hear me? It's just a disruption. Instead of you disrupting your audience, you're being disrupted from all the little shit that
Mhm.
should have been taken care of before the show.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, they say that the hard work happens behind the scenes, and
I love
everything that
that.
comes to it, everything you're seeing in essence, anything that you're putting out there is a performance. And if you want to display the best version of yourself, then you got to put in the work. Like you said, doing the prep right before, making sure the camera's working, doing a sound check, making
Yeah.
sure that your surrounding is set up for success. Because if you're not doing that, then what you're putting out there is going to be garbage. And
Shit show.
you don't want to put out garbage. You don't want everything to be a shit show. You want people to appreciate the work. And
Yeah.
there's no appreciation of work if you don't do any work. Why do you think that there a bunch of celebrity kids out there that just aren't as famous as their parents? Because guess what, they were just given
Not putting in
everything,
the
and then
work.
they're not really putting in much work. They're just been handed everything, and people can understand what's real or not and what's fake and not. If you put in the work as an entrepreneur and you have a product that showcases that work, then people respond well to it. And I want everybody to understand that being an entrepreneur is a little bit of all of that encompass. Is all about being the showman, a salesperson, is all
Yeah.
about the development, and it's all about the self improvement, like you mentioned. That's about all of it. And this is what I love about being an entrepreneur. This is I love about this show, is that we get to teach people about all of this, all these components, not just that one component of how to get rich quick. I'm gonna teach you the 10 steps on how to put together a business
Yeah.
plan, a business model, et cetera, et cetera. We're here to teach you how to become a better you. And in becoming a better you, you'll become a better entrepreneur.
Damn.
Well,
Damn,
yeah.
bro. You on fire, man.
Well, we're
But
always on fire in
that's
here.
what's up.
We're showmen. You know what? And then the thing is, we make it look easy, but that's because of
It's
all the
not true.
years of hard work that we've already put in. It's like we come in and we already ready. It's like we just comb here, comb there, fix our beards a little bit, and then we're
Yep.
on.
That's right. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I got a question for you now, Ray, and this is specifically for you. You're a
Mhm.
showman, yes, but then I believe part of your showmanship is also your outer image. You could fucking dress, bro. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Like I look up to you in that sense. Like, damn, the fashion on the back of this fucker, man. Like, I need that, you know. And so, it does it matter in
I
terms of
think
showmanship?
so. I
Like,
think so.
you know what I mean? Can you expound on that further?
You want to know why? And this is something that everybody should adhere to and listen closely to. It is not about just the appearance. Okay, well,
Mm,
this color go well with my skin tone, things like that. It is kind of thinking about that, and this is why stylists exist.
hmm.
I understand human connection and the human mind, the human way of thinking. Our brains are designed to take shortcuts, and unfortunately, when those are when the neurons that are firing in our brain aren't making those connections or making
Yeah.
those corrections, then we associate things by how we perceive them. And the first thing that that is triggered by our senses is our eyes. We see a person
Oh.
first before we hear them. When someone walks on stage, when someone faces in front of the audiences, we see them first before we hear them talk. So, of course, your appearance matters. Absolutely. Nobody is there thinking, oh, I'm going to judge this person just because of the way he's dressed. No, nobody wants to do that or say that or think that, but it
Hmm.
just happens. It's something that's natural. And in a way, when people say, oh, it's peacocking, no, well, then why are we watching the Met Gala? Why are a million people tuning in? Because we like celebrities? Hell no. We want to see what they're dressed like. We want to
Yep.
see what they look like. That's what we
Exactly.
want to see. We don't care what they have to say. I
Hmm.
mean, it's superficial, don't get me wrong. It is very much a part of us that's like, oh, you shouldn't ever judge a book by its cover, but at the same time, you would never read a book without a cover. So think about it.
Damn.
I
Ugh.
want you to understand that this is your appearance is your cover, the way that you want to the world to perceive you first. And this is a quote by some of the legendary fashionistas out there, is that if the world would perceive you by like how you dress and how you wear first before they notice who you are. And I think that's still true. I mean, it's coming from a fashion side. I just love my shirts, a bunch of suits. I just love fashion in general. If you and it's a genuine part of me. I mean, Alex, on the flip side over here, Alex
On
is
the
a
flip side.
Alex is a guy that would wear black every day of the week. If his
All
wife
I
wasn't
wear
like, you need
black
to
coat.
just you need to just change a little. And you know what? Maybe that could be your image. I mean, some people just have that look. Black could be black is still a look. I'm just saying it.
But all the time, it's in contrast to what Ray just said. A way, definitely a way to disrupt as a showman. Fucking blind them with that bling, that fashion. Dress to impress. You gotta dress better than the audience. That's what I will
That
say.
is true. Yeah.
Especially if you're a public speaker, you gotta dress better than the audience. You gotta step up that game. And in contrast to that, there's also a way to disrupt, wherein you just fucking you just put on a certain color and they know you for that color. And this is, say, Mark Zuckerberg, best example.
Mhm.
That fucker's wearing a t-shirt, white t-shirt, blue
Steve
jeans all the
Jobs,
time.
the
Steve
sweater,
Jobs. Black, was that a black sweater? I believe that was a black sweater.
black sweater and jeans and Skechers.
All the time. And so that also breeds the familiarity to
Hmm.
people. You know what I mean? And find whatever works for you. If you want to
Hmm.
be like Super Ray, if you want to be like Super Alex, if whatever feels comfortable to you, I believe is what's most important. Right now, we're wearing black. That's super comfortable to me. I could wear that in extreme. I could wear black in extremely hot weather because I'm comfortable in it. I know that I'll feel a lot more comfortable entering a speaking engagement, a sales transaction, wearing a black suit or anything like that, because that's my shit. That's my color. I own this color, and I'll own your ass, man. You know what I mean? So it's just that mentality of being comfortable, which makes me bring out myself even more.
Hmm. Man, it's
Whoa.
it's so weird. It's like I hear you, but I think this is where I found something we disagree on. I think it's gonna be
Yes,
disagreeing.
finally.
Yeah, because
We've been agreeing a
I
lot on the show.
I agree that yes, you should feel comfortable in what you're wearing, but I also feel that you should have fun with what you're wearing. You should try different
Oh
things and
yeah,
go outside of your comfort zone, and then just wearing black, because I feel like that's what draws eyeballs. The reason why drag shows and drag queen story time
hmm,
and all these like drag entertainment businesses are popular is because they're wearing things that not many people would wear, not many people would dare dream of, and they're extremely interesting and interesting to watch because hey, they're living their best life and they're dressed like that and they have that courage, they have the bravado, and then you're just like looking like I wish I can have a little bit of that. So when
definitely.
I'm out there, and if I'll show up in a robe, honestly, I'll show up with lipstick, I'll show up with my nails
Oh,
painted. I wouldn't care because
I would
you know
love to
what?
show up in a robe.
Because that's just being what I believe in my mind, what bravery is, in that you don't give a fuck so much. Where like, yes, you're one of the few people that are willing to put yourself in put yourself in that way because you don't care what others think in that sense of the word, where you don't take yourself that seriously enough that you would just
Yeah.
not want to wear different bright colors or be stand out. And this is, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to stand out, and you only stand you I find it hard to say that you could stand out just wearing black. I don't
All the
know.
time.
I don't know if I would stand out just by wearing black. I don't think for me personally, I don't. If anything, when
Uh-huh.
I wear black and I go out, I look like one of the servers. People ask me, "Oh, where's my drink?"
I actually almost never see you fucking wearing black, bro.
No.
I actually almost never see you. But I will show up to TBT next week wearing something completely different. I will baffle all of you. So tune in for that. All right.
Yeah.
Remember when we went to Coachella? It was so weird. But then, as I got used to it
Yeah.
and I was able to carry it. So it works. It'll
It,
work, rather.
it is so lighthearted. And you know what though too? I always think back when it comes to appearance and dressing up. They did a test on people, and they showed them different occupations with
Mhm.
the same people but different races wearing the same exact clothes but different races. So they
Mhm.
showed a picture of someone driving a fancy car, a Maybach. The only difference was both of the men were wearing black suit with a white shirt.
All
The
right.
only difference was the skin color. Most people perceived the person that was white as the owner of the car driving and enjoying his luxury
Mm-hmm.
purchase, while people that saw the black individual, they thought he was a chauffeur. And that always really
Oh,
gets me. It's like it,
I
that
see.
psychology of it. And then the
Yeah,
reasons was because we've been kind of indoctrinated. This comes from years of the movies and things like that, of
yeah,
portraying people of color in a certain occupation versus portraying other people of color, other people of a different race in that occupation.
yeah.
And that to me always sticks with me when I think about like the way I dress, the way I look, and the way that people are perceiving me. Yes, I do take some thought in I put some thought into how I look, simply because I understand the preconceived notions that people might have, that may not necessarily, and preconceived biases that they may have. They may not
Exactly.
necessarily be racist, but it's
It's
just a
unconscious.
connective it's an unconscious bias that they have
Yeah.
that it just makes that connection. And you can't blame people for that because we all have unconscious biases.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the one of the easiest examples as well is seeing people with tattoos. You know
Yes.
what I mean? I have a
Mhm.
fucking huge tattoo on my neck. It'd be like, hey, this guy is either a fucking asshole or the coolest motherfucker ever. So I like surprising people like that.
Yeah.
I will be an asshole sometimes though.
I like your tattoos.
Yeah.
I and there was a time period where like McDonald's had a policy where you wouldn't hire anybody with visible
I know.
tattoos. There
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
places
Yeah.
all over where it's like you wanted to hide your tattoos because you were afraid of getting a job. Now I mean,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. It's just normal. And this is what you need to understand about trends. It You can start a trend, people will call you weird, people will call you
Yeah.
crazy, people will think that I can't even perceive someone doing this to themselves. And next thing you know, there's people with full face tattoo working at your
Hmm.
job, and you're just like, oh, this is Brian from accounting, who cares?
This is Brian from accounting. Oh my god,
Eh,
that's a good one. Oh my
yeah.
god, they must say, "Hey, this is Alex from wherever the fuck."
Yeah.
That's a good. Wow, man. I mean, well, thank you for expounding on that, bro. We covered a lot, and I think we're on top of the hour now. And
Yeah.
guys, it's been absolutely amazing. Super Ray,
Super out.
I learned a lot, man. Like especially when we talked about the fashion part, I didn't expect
Mhm.
it to go that way, but it was good, man. A lot of it connected to the showmanship, and there's just so many things that we did drop here. But one of the things that one of my favorite highlights of this episode is, and we said it a lot, is just to be authentic and be intentional about building your personality. I think that's the most
Mhm.
important thing that I've learned in this show. And I didn't even think about that before. That just came out. You know what I mean? And yeah, thank you, Super Ray.
My
What's up,
favorite quote,
everybody?
my favorite quote of this show is also one of your quotes.
What you got?
It's be a showman, not a shit show. So
That's a good
I know we said that in the first 10 minutes of it. That is 100% my favorite quote is, yeah, be a showman, not a shit show. It's simple as that.
It makes a lot of sense. Oh man, I love it here. Obviously, we have hyped each other up very well. Hopefully, we've hyped y'all up. Let's play them out.
Woo!
Thank you for joining us over here at the Business Temple Podcast. We are live on YouTube every single Saturday, 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. ET. Follow our Instagram as well. We will begin posting updates there. Other than that, smash that like button, notification button, and subscribe. Anything else, right?
No, you covered it all. We'll see you next week. Peace.
All right, peace.